wbtv.org.
From the Media Factory in the south end of Burlington, Vermont, this is 99.3 FM WBTV-LP Burlington, streaming online at 99.3 WBTV.org. And this program is made possible in part by Burlington Telecom's Lifeline program, promoting a digitally inclusive community by helping Burlington residents afford the internet tools they need to reach their full potential. Learn more at burlingtontelecom.com, and please enjoy another episode of STEAM Lab.
We are the Nerdvana of Geektopia. Each week, we'll explore topics related to science, technology, engineering, art, and the mathematics. Our mission is to entertain, engage, and educate the Burlington community. Wait, no, the world!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to STEAM Lab, Science, Technology, Engineering, Art, and Mathematics. I'm your host, Engineer Phil, and across the way from me is Dr. Kyle.
Hello.
He's very serious today.
So serious. Not now, because we're on the radio.
Oh, no. But so this week, we're going to talk about summer. It's summertime, and there's so many summery things to discuss.
Oh, yeah.
Like fireworks. We're going to talk about fireworks. We're going to talk about going to the drive-ins. We're going to talk about one of my favorite inventions, but I'm not going to ruin it. I'm not even going to tell you what it is. I'm going to tell you the story, and then I'll reveal what the invention is.
I don't even know what this is.
You don't know the story at all.
I love it.
And then
I love being surprised.
You're going to love it. Kyle, you have a tale.
Tale, loosely organized collection of facts about baseball.
Okay,
America's pastime.
yeah.
Very great summer game.
But I would say that, as Kyle had said, we kind of need to do a baseball episode just overall.
Yeah, I feel like it's
its own thing.
It's its own, whole new topic.
Its own thing. So, we are on the radio, obviously.
That we are.
But
Where else are we?
We're also on YouTube Live right now, and I'm going to post a link on our Facebook page, facebook.com/SteamLabVT, and we're on VCam.
That we are.
And we are not on at 3 a.m.
Wednesdays at 1:30 in the morning.
No, we are on at normal times. But we are here in the Media Factory. A lot of fun things going on. And if you could visually see me right now, I'm holding up this wonderful poster.
Yeah.
We are your community media center. This is a space to learn and create films, get involved in radio, learn how to do all this fun stuff. And there are lots of classes going on. It is July tomorrow, right?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of stuff. iMovie on computers, local music, video showcases happening. And all of these things, they have suggested donations.
Yeah.
But
we keep them affordable.
If you can't afford it,
come anyway.
Yeah. It doesn't cost you a thing. By the way, quick little shout out to our friends at In the Know Radio Magazine Show. They like STEAM Lab.
They do. I saw that.
Yeah.
They interacted with us on Facebook.
That's right. So
earlier this week.
In the Know Radio Magazine Show is a community radio show down in Nashville, Tennessee. I think it's Nashville. Boy, I better get this right. Yes, Radio Free Nashville. So 107.1 LP FM.
Give it a listen.
Give them a listen. Check them out. You know, this community radio stuff is pretty amazing because...
build communities all across the coast.
We don't have an agenda.
No. We're here to have fun.
We're not trying to make money. We're trying to make an audience. I mean, making money would be nice.
Your favorite catchphrase.
One of many. One of many. Yes. So I will post a link on our Facebook page so you can watch us live if that's what you want to do. I would imagine people would want to see us.
Perhaps.
I mean, I'm
looking at you, viewers.
Dude,
you.
I mean, I'm a good-looking guy.
All right, we gotta move on. I'm gonna make mean comments.
What?
I'm kidding.
What do you mean?
I'm kidding.
I mean, you're not too shabby yourself.
All right, don't flatter me.
Flattery.
What
will
are we?
get you
What are we?
everywhere.
We're talking about fireworks.
Summer. Oh yeah, fireworks. Yeah.
Unless the
yeah.
fireworks go off between us anymore.
What? Well, name all the stuff you know about fireworks.
They're happen on the 4th of July.
Okay. Oh, no, more than that. Come on, Kyle.
They are explosive reactions of different elements and stuff. I feel like I watched a Dirty Jobs on this one at one point in time about how they were made. Everyone likes to think that they were invented by the Chinese, I think.
Yeah, but actually, they were invented in India.
Oh, you're spoiling it.
Well, whatever. I mean, Well, honestly, who knows? Who cares?
Yeah, they're pretty lights in the sky.
They are pretty lights.
People like
in
to
the
blow
sky.
their hands off with them at some point in time.
Oh boy, yeah, that's kind of. We're not here to make social judgments on people and their fireworks. I will tell you a quick story.
Yeah.
I grew up in Minnesota. Surprise, surprise.
Surprise. Shock.
Got to bring it back around to the
Oh.
great state.
Every episode.
Minnesota. Minnesota. So, they're illegal in Minnesota. I mean,
They're illegal and actually to sell like bigger ones in a lot of states in New England area.
well, they used to be very illegal
Yeah.
in Minnesota. Like, you couldn't even have firecrackers.
Wow.
Like, super illegal. But they're legal in Wisconsin. And so, my dad would
Take a nice road trip.
take a road
Just
trip.
to see the sights and perhaps cross state borders for an hour or two.
What's funny is that there was actually like a big sting operation when I was a kid
Yeah.
of people. I mean, come on, give me a break.
Trafficking fireworks.
I know, like,
across
what's
state
going
lines.
on here? Is this big of a
The-
problem?
Our tax dollars at work.
Yeah, don't we have other things to worry about? Like drugs and murderers and
No. We're worried about people
kidnappers
celebrating
and-
the 4th of July or any other holiday
Yeah.
in the summertime.
Yeah, human trafficking. No, fireworks.
Gotta keep them. Gotta keep them
Right,
out of the
what?
homes.
But I remember it was like a big report on WCCO, which is the big radio TV station out there in Minneapolis. And my dad, he took a risk. But he would. And he'd go and he'd get packs of fireworks.
Yeah, the big plastic wrap packages.
Oh,
and
my
everything.
gosh.
They always got one big one in there that like.
Oh, yeah.
50-50
You
shot
save
that
it.
it's a dud or not.
Yeah.
Save it for the end.
Well, we did it year after year.
Yeah.
And it got more and more elaborate as the years went by.
I'm sure.
And I remember one year, I'd never done a Roman candle before.
Shoot them at each other.
You know what a Roman candle is?
I'm very familiar with Roman candles.
Have you ever done a Roman candle before?
Yes. Sounds like it's dirty.
Would you like to?
Man.
What kind of radio show are we doing?
I
right
don't
now?
know, but
No.
have you ever done a Roman candle before? It's such a weird way to
That's
phrase
not-
that.
Come on, man. What are you talking about? Not. Oh, jeez, I'm crow, bro.
Yes,
Oh.
I have lit a Roman candle and used one. That's a better
As
way
a
to phrase
firework.
as a firework tool.
I did not mean it that way. Oh my gosh. Anyways, yes.
but
Would you
we're
describe?
safe harbor
Okay,
hours.
fine. You describe. No, you took it there, sir.
I did.
You.
I did.
Oh, you're all. That's
No,
all
they're,
you,
they're,
man.
they're like little. There's a bunch of them. It's like a stick. That kind of looks like a tall candle, and inside
Sure.
is a bunch of like I don't even know really how they're packed. I have no idea how these things are made. All I know is they just shoot out like balls of like fireworks. I know. See, there you go. Now you're taking. I already took it there. And now we're all laughing about things. But it shoots out fireworks with like a few a couple second intervals. And- oh no, ladies and gentlemen, I've killed Philip. Uh oh. Hold on, he's got to recover here.
Okay, you're right.
They're great to shoot at each other sometimes.
Oh, well, don't do that, kids. This is very bad.
No, but back way back when, you just kind of
it's not a good idea.
horrible idea, horrendous idea.
It's
but,
not a good idea.
Roman candle fights are things that may or may not have been a part of the youth.
Yeah, I probably. Well, okay, so I was probably 12. I didn't know what I was doing,
Yeah.
And my father gave me a cigar. He said, "This is perfect for lighting the
fuse.
the fuses." And I'm like, "Great." So I'm smoking a cigar with, like three of my uncles and my dad.
Oh yeah, they're all sitting around and
They're all drinking, beers and whatever.
let's watch the 12-year-old struggle with fireworks. Probably
Great
play that
idea.
game.
4th of July, Independence Day tradition, Not a good idea, folks. We're not promoting this. I know we're
Nothing
probably.
that we say.
Here's the thing.
We're not. We're not
We're not going to prevent people from doing that. But I'll just be serious real quick. Fireworks are explosives.
Oh, yeah.
So
No.
don't do any of this stuff. But I mean, and we're using a little bit of humor and levity. Maybe someone who's listening to the show has had some kind of an accident, or they know someone that's had an accident, and people have been seriously hurt.
They're illegal in some states for a reason. Like
People have been killed with fireworks before because it just, you mix alcohol and explosives.
it's a bad idea.
It's bad.
Yeah.
Bad idea. So anyways, getting back to my my story. So I have a cigar in my mouth. I'm 12, by the way.
Okay.
Nowadays, DCF would have been called right away. So I lit the Roman candle, and I turned it so that the lit part was facing towards me.
Oh. Wow, like that, like never point a gun at yourself?
Well,
Rule, just
I was like, oh, this is how this works. And it shot one of the flaming balls
right into your chest?
right at my jacket, and it like burned a hole in my jacket. And I was like, oh, and then I turned it around, and then I held it up the correct way. Yeah.
I'm sure your
Oh, my
uncles
dad-
and dad
oh, no, they were all
on
laughing.
the floor.
They thought it was hilarious.
Oh, look at the 12-year-old.
Look at him.
Look at him struggle with
Look at him.
a bomb and fire.
Smoking a cigar.
Oh, God.
It happened.
Nice.
True story.
Well, anecdotal things aside, how do we bring this back around?
Well, okay,
to
so
our
while
show?
fireworks may seem like a very American tradition, and it is, over the past, 100 years, but that's in the terms of like all of history. It's not. The origins go back centuries before the first Independence Day fireworks display. And there was a big Independence Day fireworks display in Philadelphia in 1777. But let's talk about how they work.
I'm happy to hear it.
Are you fascinated?
I am. You've hooked me.
So how do they work? So each modern firework so you got the firecrackers. Mm-hmm. This is not what we're talking about.
No.
So firecrackers are just like,
The tiny little.
yeah, you need to light them and then just go pop, 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 pop. This is not what we're talking about. So each modern firework consists of an aerial shell. I mean, basically it is like an explosive.
Yeah.
And this is a tube that contains gunpowder and dozens of these small pods. And each of the pods is called a star.
Interesting.
And these stars measure about 1 to like 1.5 inches, which is how many centimeters is that?
1 inch is 2.54.
I love it. You're such a nerd.
Did I get that right?
Okay, yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Definitely. 1 to 1.5 inches would be 3 to 4 centimeters. So in diameter. So according to, and there is an organization in the federal government that actually will kind of monitor this stuff.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like scuba diving.
It's not highly regulated.
Right. There is something called the ACA.
Association
I'm going to see. Yeah.
American.
What do you think it stands for?
I
You're going to love it. This is
don't
great.
know.
This is
I have
fantastic.
no idea.
The American Chemical Society.
ACA, American Chemical
Society.
Society.
I know, but that's their acronym is ACA.
Ugh, I hate it. There's not even. There's like.
I know.
Oh God.
If
Not even
I-
like chemical worked well for that.
That's
okay.
why I said you were going to love it.
Ugh.
Because,
Ugh.
right?
It pains me. All right, go on.
I think we figured out you're crazy.
A little bit.
OCD, maybe. Oh, thanks, Athena. She's making fireworks. She's got, good job. So, the American Chemical Society, the ACA,
Go on. Let's move on from that.
so it holds a fuel, an oxidizing agent, some kind of a binder, metal salts, or metal oxides for color. So, the firework also has this thing called a fuse that is lit to ignite the gunpowder. So
Yeah.
obviously the gunpowder is what makes the firework go. So each star makes one dot in the firework's explosion. So if you can imagine,
How many dots are in a?
Yeah.
They're really loaded in there.
yeah. So when the colorants are heated, their atoms absorb energy and then produce light as they lose excess energy. So it's an exothermic reaction. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah.
Because the heat is going out.
Dissipated into
It's
the system.
dissipating, right? So we're talking science now, buddy.
I know. We're here.
Well, hey, it's Steam Lab.
made
This is
it.
what we're doing, baby. We're talking science. I was trying to really spice this up. I was typing this, and I'm like, how can we make this interesting?
You getting there?
We can talk about Roman candles.
It's like the longest running joke now.
It's never going to die. So the different chemicals produce different amounts of energy and create different colors. And of course, you can imagine that there are fireworks engineers, chemical engineers, and fireworks are expensive.
Yeah, I feel like I remember the process to make them too. Like I said, I feel like I've definitely watched like a How It's Made or something on fireworks, and it's like really like not clean because they basically throw all this like black powder because it's all this stuff is like black or gray when it goes in before it blows up. Like they're pretty like mundane looking things that are packaged before they explode, and it's like just throwing.
It's very dangerous.
Like, bags of like soot basically like into a hopper, and it's mixing everything up, and they're doing it like all in, all those balls are mixed from one giant mixture of ratios.
Right.
And it's like dust was going everywhere. I think it was a Dirty Jobs episode, which is fitting for how the process works. The people that make them are like covered in like black soot looking stuff, and it's really like chemicals and gunpowder and stuff. It's just like a really messy process, but apparently works and is scientific and measured. I don't know.
How much do you think it costs for the Burlington fireworks display?
A lot of money.
Take a guess.
I don't even know where to estimate
Just
that.
guess.
Let's $100,000.
Actually, it's not that much.
Oh, okay.
So I'm looking at an article
misled me.
No. I'm looking at an article from I think 2017.
Yeah.
And it said the fireworks display in Burlington in 2017 is $40,000.
Okay.
And the cost of the show. So the sponsors actually cover $31,600.
Wow.
And this is according to a colleague of mine
Yeah.
with Parks and Rec.
Nice.
The Department of Parks, Recreation, and Waterfront. So yeah, I mean, $31,000 and the city pays the rest. It's not that much money, actually.
Yeah.
And the show lasts.
The show's like half an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty
22 to 25 minutes.
neat. Yeah.
And it takes 2 months to do a lot of the demoing and all it's these touring factories. Burlington's annual Independence Day show is on his mind while he's in China. They did this article on this guy who does all this work. I would imagine that the 4th of July is very fun and stressful for these people.
I feel like it's almost like an art form too, because I mean, yeah, you got to make these things, but also like designing a show, And I don't know anything. I'm talking, without any knowledge, but just, what goes into the fuse timings, because it's not like someone's sitting out on the barge, because a lot of times, a big fireworks show is over water.
Yeah.
They ship them on a
For a
boat
reason.
somewhere for a reason.
Yeah, for a reason.
They're loaded up on this barge. There's nobody on it.
Yeah.
Because there shouldn't be. And then they just go on timings. And I'd be interested to know how that works.
Well, there's so many safety certifications that these people have to have. I mean, it's not.
No, but I mean,
it's not Engineer Phil and his dad with the Roman candle drinking beer and smoking cigars.
No, that much I know. But I mean, like how? What's the like how? Once we hit go time, like 9 o'clock, and then have a show that goes on for half an hour. Is it all automated? Does it just like what's the process?
I would imagine some of it is, and some of it isn't.
Some of it isn't. And some of it's a guy from a mile away lighting a fuse or whatever.
And then there's always the finale.
Yeah, the finale, but it just also timed, and it's. I feel like there's like a artful design that goes into the displays because they're shows.
It is. It's a show. It definitely is a show. So fireworks. So let's talk a little bit more about the chemistry behind this. So different chemicals produce different amounts of energy, creating different colors. So these people that are doing this work, they're chemists, they're engineers, they're scientists. So for example, when sodium nitrate is heated, electrons in the sodium atoms absorb the energy and get excited. Now, it's important to understand something about sodium. When I say sodium, a lot of people think table salt.
No.
And sodium is in the periodic table is Na and it's natrium. That's how it's actually. That's Latin for sodium. And sodium mixed with chlorine. Sodium chloride, that makes table salt. So you have a very unstable gas and a very unstable metal. Put them together, and it's your most common condiment.
Yeah.
So when I'm saying sodium nitrate, that's not table salt. Sodium nitrate is heated. I mean, all this stuff is very unstable.
Yeah. Oh, if you've seen videos of people dropping sodium in water,
holy
literally
cow.
explodes.
So the electrons in the sodium atoms absorb the energy and get super excited. As the electrons come down from this high, yeah, man, they release their energy about 200 kilojoules per mole, which is a unit of measurement for chemical substances. I'll let people look it up. Or
6.02 times 10.
and of course, sodium. That would produce what color do you think?
Sodium burns orange.
Yellowish.
Yellowish
It's
orange.
more yellowish.
I actually know a couple of.
You've done this.
Yeah, I've done this experiment in school.
So I got a lot of this according to a website through the University of Wisconsin-Madison, of course. Wisconsin. And there's a chemistry professor there now named Basim Sharkarhash. I can't pronounce his name. So according to the ACA, American Chemical Society,
Ugh.
this is how some fireworks colors are made. Blues.
Copper.
You got it. Copper with chloride.
Okay.
Okay. You would not want to put chloride with the sodium, of course,
No.
because it wouldn't get a reaction.
No.
You'd just be like, hey, we'll just put that on my
Ever
steak.
try to burn table salt? Doesn't go well.
Right. Reds?
Potassium.
No.
No, wait, lithium.
No.
What's red?
Yes, no, you're right. It
Yeah.
is. But it's a.
Right to which one?
No, red is lithium.
Okay.
It's lithium salt.
Yeah.
Strontium
Is that
carbonate?
green? That's green.
No. That's still red. Purple?
Oh, which one's purple? Purple's potassium.
No, it's a mix of a blue producing copper.
Okay.
So copper would be different depending on how long you let it oxidize.
There's other ones. I feel like I've done this like rainbow experiment in chem before. I forget which one's like a pure purple, but it's probably too expensive for fireworks.
Oh, so orange?
Sodium we talked about, or something else.
No, it'd be calcium.
Ah,
Calcium chloride. Oh wow! Thanks, and of course, our wonderful lady in the booth. She's got the whole thing right up there.
Oh yeah.
She's giving it away. This is great. Thank you so much.
Potassium is light purple to red.
Right,
That's
yeah,
what it is.
Right. And then green is made with a barium chloride, and orange is calcium. So anyway, so that's kind of the chemistry behind fireworks.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going to live or die just talking about that, but we could talk more about it, or we could take a brief break.
Well, I think. Did you say you have a new?
I do have
song?
a new track. I do.
Why don't
I
we listen to your new track.
Yeah, no, I hang on a second. I want to make sure that I don't have other things playing at the same time. I always make this mistake. It's silly. Okay.
You good?
I'm ready, man.
All
Are
right,
you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready to get down.
Because I think it's going to be good.
Is it a groovy one?
Definitely. Hello and welcome back to STEAM Lab, Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts, and Mathematics. Did you like my dancing?
That was a groovy one.
I think all of our fans out there got a chance to see me dance and see you just sit there.
Just sit there and smirk and be like,
look.
Philip, what the heck?
Yeah, thinking Roman
Yeah.
candles.
Ugh.
What? Okay, so we're gonna switch things up a little bit. I'm gonna tell this little tale.
I love story time.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. This is and it will make sense. I will bring it back around.
Okay.
And the story is about a man named Lonnie Johnson.
Okay.
And he is a famous African-American engineer and inventor. He was born in Alabama in 1949. He earned his master's degree in nuclear engineering from Tuskegee University.
Okay.
Smart guy. Really smart guy. He went on to work for the United States Air Force and NASA.
Wow. Always bring it back around to NASA.
Well, hey,
Oh, yeah.
this is we're NASA in Minnesota. And so he's been working on an invention that I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. And he'd been developing it while he was working on a thermoelectric energy converter, which is an engine that converts heat directly into electricity, which he sees as a path to low-cost solar power.
Okay. What years are we talking about here?
Well, he was born in 1949.
Okay.
And he was working on this in the 80s.
Okay. I'm just trying to paint a picture, you know?
So he worked in the Air Force. He was an important member of the government scientific establishment. And he was assigned to the Strategic Air Command, SAC, which is this, basically nuclear bombs.
Okay.
That's the best way to put it. Where he helped actually develop the stealth bomber program. Then eventually he worked his way up to NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in 1979.
JPL.
Right? He worked as a systems engineer for the Galileo mission to Jupiter and the Cassini mission to Saturn before returning to work for the Air Force in 1982 as an engineer. Now, despite his busy days, as you would imagine a nuclear scientist would be, Johnson continued to pursue his own inventions in his spare time.
Okay.
And one of his longtime pet projects was an environmentally friendly heat pump that used water.
Heat pump. Okay.
The point will emerge.
Okay.
Instead of Freon, right? So Johnson finally completed a prototype one night in 1982 and decided to test it in his bathroom. He aimed the nozzle into his bathtub, pulled the lever, and blasted a powerful stream of water straight into the tub.
What did this guy make a
Hold your
pressure
horses.
washer?
I know. Johnson's instantaneous and instinctive reaction has since been shared by millions of children around the world. He was like, bro, I can make some money off of this. So in 1989...
Oh, I think I know where this is going. I think I got it. I think I figured it out.
Okay,
Go on.
just hold your horses.
Okay.
After another 7 years of tinkering and tireless sales pitching, during which he left the Air Force to go into business for himself, Johnson finally sold his device to the Laramie Corporation. The Power Drencher initially failed to make much of a commercial
Here it is.
impact.
Yep. I was like, this isn't about fireworks anymore.
No,
I know where this is going.
And it didn't make a commercial impact at first, but after additional marketing efforts and a name change to...
Super Soaker.
You got it, the Super
Nailed
Soaker.
it.
Became a massively successful item. It topped $200 million in sales in 1991 and went on to annually rank among the world's best toys. Top 20 toys ever. And so, propelled by the success of the Super Soaker, Lonnie Johnson founded the Johnson Research Center. Yeah, there he is. Yeah, look at him. He's like, yeah, I was making nuclear bombs.
And now I'm making children's toys.
Yeah, now I'm making the Super Soaker.
It's amazing.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's got dozens of patents. You want to hear some of his other inventions?
Let's do it.
A ceramic battery.
Okay.
A ceramic battery.
Yeah.
Mind blown. Hair rollers that set without heat. Those achieved commercial success. Others include a diaper that plays a nursery rhyme when soiled. That didn't catch on. So another invention sought to address matters of far greater importance with the creation of the Johnson Thermoelectric Energy Converter. The engineer aimed to develop an advanced heat engine that could convert solar energy into electricity with twice the efficiency of existing methods.
Very cool.
I'm thinking that's a pretty important invention.
Yeah.
And he believes that a successful version of this has the potential to make solar competitive with coal, with other forms of electricity, because it makes it so efficient. And of course, solar energy is renewable. The sun's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So, and his pitches have been kind of initially spurred, but he's continuing to work on it. But I think this guy will go down as one of the most successful inventors and entrepreneurs of all time. Brilliant guy.
That's awesome.
He went from working in for the military on these death machines. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's no other way of putting it. To working for NASA on much more noble causes. To toys.
It's awesome.
To a heat exchanger, which is basically what the idea with that pump.
Yeah.
The Super Soaker was. I mean, have you ever used a Super Soaker? Who hasn't?
Yeah.
I remember those.
I owned like 20 of them
Dude.
at one point throughout my life. In
They're
various
amazing.
forms, from pistol to big.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Super Soakers are amazing. Because you literally, I mean, you soak somebody.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah. So hopefully his invention comes to pass. But so that's my little side story for
That's
today.
a cool little side story. I like that.
Yeah, isn't that great?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There you go.
Nice. So,
What do you want to do?
I don't know. Do you want to take a?
We could take another quick
I feel
break.
like it was a quick little side story. We'll take a quick break.
Yeah, no, that's totally cool. Yeah, let me.
Come back for our last half hour.
Okay, I got some music. Go for it.
Oh, here it is. Where is it?
I don't know.
Where is it?
In a second.
Up. The smoothest of transitions,
Oh,
as always.
so smooth. There it is.
Nice.
Hello, Kyle. This is for your information. Kyle, the phrase dog days of summer used to refer to sweltering summer days has more to do with the stars than dogs. The Romans' Dies Canicularis began towards the end of July when the star Sirius, known as the dog star, began to rise in the sky just before the sun. The star was so bright that the Romans believed it gave extra heat to the sun and was responsible for the hot days of summer. Hence, the dog days of summer.
That was the
Kyle.
longest one I've ever heard.
For your information, Kyle, did you know that on a hot day in Paris, the Eiffel Tower grows taller?
Expansion.
The tower is constructed from iron, and when it is warmed, it expands, causing the structure to grow by up to 17 centimeters.
Wow.
How many inches is that,
A
Kyle?
lot.
Don't know.
Roughly 39-ish.
For your information, Kyle, every year on the summer solstice, a unique baseball game is played at the Groden Memorial Park, known as the Midnight Sun Game.
Alaska.
Taking place in Fairbanks, Alaska, the sun is out for almost 24 hours on the solstice, And so the game begins at 10:30 p.m. and ends around 1:30 a.m. without any artificial lighting. The tradition originated in 1906 and has been played every year since 1960 by the Alaska Gold Pannas. And this has been For Your Information, Kyle!
Wow. That was a lot of long ones.
Yes. Something a little different.
Nice. Well,
Your
welcome back.
turn.
You're listening to Steam Lab. We're broadcasting 93 FM, WVLP Burlington.
That's it?
Oh, and back to you, Phil. No, I'm just kidding. So we're talking about summer stuff.
Yeah, summer. I kind of like what we've talked about so
Yeah,
far.
we talked about some cool
Fireworks
things.
is cool.
Fireworks, super soakers, etc.
Yeah.
And when I think about summer, I think, oh man, going to the ballpark. That was like a big
We really
thing.
need to dedicate an entire episode.
But I think we
to
really
this.
exactly. It's like I don't know I don't know what
How
to
do you
talk about
sum
with
it up?
baseball. To sum it with baseball, I feel like I just want to talk about like the origins of it, briefly, and then maybe we'll do a whole episode on it.
I think
getting like the math of baseball is like
Sure.
super cool. And
There is a
Moneyball
ton. The cool thing about baseball is that it is pretty much the only sport that you can look at and compare players from generation to generation.
Yeah.
Because the game, although it's changed a little bit,
Not fundamentally so.
football's changed a ton.
Yeah.
It seems to change every year.
Mm-hmm.
Hockey changes. Basketball seems to change. Baseball
Stays the same.
pretty much stays the same.
Yeah, which is really cool. And it's one of the like more uniquely American sports, although it kind of derived off of some stuff from Europe.
Yeah, like cricket.
Like cricket in this game.
What was the
called
other game?
Rounders.
Oh, yeah. Or Irish golf. You ever played Irish road golf?
What Irish road golf is, other than like a skit by the late and great Robin Williams.
It's a real thing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what that is.
You have to, yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll talk about it.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. I think when I think summer, I think like going to the ballpark, sitting down with like a hot dog and a soda and like watching whatever majors, minors, the works. Summer,
Sure.
Whatever game we used to go all the time as like as kids because I grew up kind of more close to New York City. So
So you see the Yankees.
Yankees, Mets, like the works, kind of thing.
I was not spoiled. I was a Twins fan,
Yeah.
and they played in the Metrodome. So I did never experienced outdoor Major League Baseball.
Oh yeah, it's all.
Well, until they finally got the new baseball park. But by that time, I was like in my late 20s.
Yeah.
So, but the Twins always played in the Metro. And it was a big advantage. We never should have gotten rid of it. But anyways, continue.
It's fine. No, yeah, and we go to like Mets games and Yankee games, and my family's diehard Yankees fans, but Mets tickets were cheaper.
Yeah. Understood.
Yeah, and still are because they don't quite necessarily always fill that stadium.
Right.
Although now it's Citi Field. They should back when it was Shea, in the original Yankee Stadium. I'm dating myself.
Wow.
Which is they've both since been knocked down and converted to parking lots.
Because God only knows we need more parking.
God only knows. Well, they're parking lots for the new stadiums. Well designed. But yeah, no. Baseball is really cool. And I don't know how this is going to relate necessarily to, we can make it math or art or whatever, but I think sports are a form of something STEAM related. So yeah, baseball dates back. It's really actually kind of interesting, like they've tried to track like who invented it, kind of thing. And I know we took a trip up to Cooperstown, New York, which is some people call like the kind of like birthplace of baseball. There's a really famous like Doubleday Field is up there.
That's the rumor is that this Abner Doubleday invented it.
Yeah. So what?
But we got to say right away, it's total.
But not necessarily. Yeah, it's pretty much kind of hogwash. Basically, in the early 1900s. As baseball was kind of taking shape and there were leagues kind of starting to develop, these people were like, well, how did we get this? Like, who made this? And they formed this commission to like look into it, and it took them like 3 years, and they came up and they were like, it was this guy, Abner Doubleday, who was like a Civil War vet or something. And this is like way after he died, but apparently he would have been pretty surprised because it was false and like made up by this Colorado like mining engineer or something. Doubleday kind of wouldn't have known that he had any part in inventing the game because he didn't really. It's kind of a myth, but it still persists. And but a lot of it, when you kind of dig into the history, a lot of stuff is focused around the New York, New England area, where a lot of it grew up. So that's why like the Baseball Hall of Fame is in Cooperstown, New York. There's a lot of historic kind of stuff in Cooperstown. There's a lot of historic things that have happened. A lot of teams came out of New York and Boston. in the kind of New England area, or really just like the northwest corner of the United States, where a lot of the original teams kind of came from.
No,
which is
everybody's
cool.
close together. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
cities. I mean, East Coast. It doesn't take one very long to get from Philly to New York and New York to Boston.
And then the reason, what's super interesting too, I think we talked about it a little bit, is the move from the Giants and everything. The reason why you have teams kind of popping up west is because they wanted to spread the leagues out a little bit, and so they kicked the New York Giants over to California to push baseball, bigger teams, housing in more strategic cities out west to get it out of New England and out of the Northeast, which is really cool. But baseball was first mentioned in 1791, around Pittsfield, Massachusetts, apparently, is like the first kind of time it's ever been recorded. But it really started to kick off sort of in the mid 1800s, around like Civil War time and all that kind of stuff. They really kind of started taking shape in like the early 1900s. But the first team to play under modern rules, again, this is kind of going back to that point of, this game hasn't really changed in 200 years.
No, it really hasn't.
So the first game played under modern rules was in September 23rd, 1845, by the New York Knickerbockers, of all names, which I think is just super fun.
Which is the basketball.
What? New York Knicks?
New York Knicks.
But yeah, originally baseball team, New York Knickerbockers, no longer exists. Amateur team, kind of disbanded since. But they kind of formulated what was called the Knickerbocker rules for a long time, which changed a little bit because basically there were like two schools of thought. There was baseball being played in Massachusetts and baseball being played in New York. And the Massachusetts was a little different, where like you could still like peg people with a ball to throw them out, kind of like kickball. And they thought it was a little bit aggressive and wanted to kind of change it up. So this is the Knickerbocker rule piece of it, is where you get like, you have to tag people out and step on bases. You're not just like pelting a ball at them.
Yeah, that would yeah.
Yeah, because that kind of sucks and hurts, and apparently started fights, and they're trying to limit that.
Well, it's similar to the story we talked about with basketball.
Yeah,
The rules are made because you don't want people like you don't want it to erupt into a straight up brawl.
No. Although there's still bench clearers that happen in baseball, which is super fun.
Baseball fights are pretty weak sauce, man.
They can get pretty crazy.
Yeah, they just kind of all grab each other and roll around on the ground.
All right.
It's not like a hockey fight.
Hockey fights are good.
Hockey fights are
And
bad news,
frequent
dude.
and often.
Well, that's like part of the thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so baseball kind of started taking off. It got really big after, not really big, but it started growing, and like the number of clubs, which are teams, started growing into the 1800s. And then what's a really interesting fact is, people always think about like Jackie Robinson,
Right.
and the integration of, racial integration of baseball leagues happening in the 1940s. Originally, baseball started integrated.
Yeah, of course.
And there were African Americans, and there were black players within the whole league,
Like
and
right
on
away.
teams, kind of right away. But as they started to develop major leagues and it became more organized, and
we
they were
can't have
making a
those,
league
blah,
system.
blah, blah, yeah.
That's when, and I believe, hold on, I'm looking at the year. I think it was 1875. They barred people of color from playing in baseball leagues, and then they wouldn't play again until 1947, when Jackie Robinson became the first African American baseball, or the next
Right.
African American baseball player to
Right.
play in a
It's
major
interesting
league
you bring
team.
that up. When Sheila and I were in Washington D.C., we went to the African American History Museum, and
Yeah.
racism in America it's a very interesting thing.
Yeah.
You'd think that it was always this way. Like people just, while they look different, these African American people, they're black, so we must hate them, and it didn't. That's not how all that started. It came down to money, and how the rich people made the poor white people feel like it was. Anyways, it's a whole cultural thing. I recommend everyone that's listening to me, if you have an opportunity, go to Washington D.C., check out the African American History Museum, and because the whole race thing it's weird. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
No.
No sense.
But just quick.
And they have a history. I hate Negro leagues. That's what they were called.
that's
So
what they were
yeah,
called. That's when, after that rule kind of came into effect, they
still wanted to
started
play.
cropping up because they still wanted to play, and they
One
existed.
of the greatest pitchers
They
of all
kinda-
time, Satchel Paige.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have the Cy Young Award. It should be called the Satchel Paige Award. That guy pitched into his 50s.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Yes.
But yeah, they kind of cropped up and then they faded around the Great Depression. And they came back after kind of around the World War II time. And then obviously it was integrated in the late 40s.
Right.
But some other quick kind of baseball facts, because why not talk about baseball for a little bit? The first World Series was played in 1903. Was actually won by Boston of the American League of all teams. Although I think they were called the Boston Red Stockings at the time, maybe the Boston Bees. The teams have kind of changed names
The Sox.
throughout. Yeah, the Sox. Well, the Red Sox.
Yeah.
Now, but
SOX.
yeah, SOX.
Same with the Red Sox. You know why they did that?
Why?
Instead of SOCKS?
Because Boston sucks for
Whoa,
graffiti.
whoa.
Yeah, see, you can make an O and U real easy. That's
Yeah,
why.
I know.
I would think that had a play in it.
I don't think they were thinking about that back then. No, what it comes down to is writers.
Writers?
The press is
Oh.
easy for them to just write SOX.
Like abbreviation.
I know.
Save 2 characters.
Yeah, right.
I love it. I'm gonna go with my explanation.
Well, you're a Yankees fan. So
Yeah,
you
I know.
can-
But yeah, what's really cool, I think, about the early kind of baseball stuff is they had a couple. You know, we talked about how the game hasn't super changed, but originally there's this like era of baseball history which actually was ended by Babe Ruth, which is very coincidental and probably helped push him into the spotlight with the slugging thing. But from 1900 to like 1919, they call it the dead ball era. And that's because basically the kind of reasoning for it is that way back in the early 1900s, you know, think about right now, you can go to like whatever sports store, Dick's Sporting Goods or whatever, grab a baseball, pack of baseballs for like what, $10 for
Sure.
like 10 of them.
Maybe more than
Maybe
that.
more than that. However, they're
Whatever.
cheap is the point.
Yeah,
right?
baseballs are not expensive.
Not expensive. Back in the day, in 1900, the way that they were making them, they cost $3 a ball of that money.
Oh, wow.
Which today
It would be like
equate
$100
to like
bucks.
$90.
Yeah.
For one baseball.
Holy shnikes.
So the whole game was played, and they were really stringent with these things to the point where if a ball was hit into the stands, they had security guards that would go try to get it back from whoever caught it in the audience. But they'd play the whole game with like a single baseball, which meant that the thing, and also they weren't made the same way. You know, they were much softer. Original baseballs, the way, you know, today we think they're like rock hard things. The original ones were softer, they
Sure.
were malleable. So you'd play a game.
It's interesting you bring that up. I'd read about this last week as well. Current baseballs. Well, you finish telling your story, and then I'll tell mine quick.
Yeah, well, so you know, by the end of the game, these things are like grass stained. They're got tobacco spit on them.
Oh, sure.
They're misshapen and dented. You know,
Right.
they're not round anymore. They're not round, perfect things that are easy
Yeah.
to hit. So this like 1900 to 1919 era of baseball was like really a defensive game. There were like low scoring. There was a lot of like infield based stuff because they just couldn't hit these. They physically couldn't hit these balls far. Because they were so deformed by like the ninth inning, right? So then you kind of move on, and I think like someone got like beamed by a ball and it like killed a player because basically like they got so dark and like scuffed and dirty
couldn't even see it
that you
anymore.
can't see them, so the players couldn't dodge them as easy when there was a ball flying towards their head.
Right.
And so I forget who it was, which team, basically got hit in the temple. Ray Chapman, here's the name, got hit in the temple, in 1920. And they were like, okay, we gotta start using more balls. They gotta be cleaner. Like we can't have this anymore. So that's also right around the time when Babe Ruth was up and coming, because in 1919 is when the historic trade by Boston to the Yankees and the whole Curse of the Bambino thing, when they sold Ruth to the Yankees.
Right.
And he's he started as a pitcher actually, and then kind of Boston threw
He's
him
an
in the
amazing
outfield.
pitcher.
Yeah, he was an amazing pitcher. And then Boston was like, he's not hitting enough as a pitcher because he can only play every couple games. They
Right.
wanted in the outfield to hit more.
Well, of course, because he could do it all.
Exactly, because he'd do it all. So they put him in the outfield.
It's interesting. He's
he could
from
bat every game.
He's originally from Baltimore.
Yeah, it's cool.
Babe Ruth.
But basically, so in comes Babe Ruth, who's got this like killer swing.
Sure.
And now they're also doing it so they're making it so that these balls are using more baseballs per game,
Sure.
which means they're newer, which means they're harder, which means they're not getting all like scuffed and dirty and
Right.
deformed, which means you can start slugging,
Right.
And you kind of work your way out of that like dead ball era because the rules have changed. Now Babe Ruth starts like crushing homers left and right for the
Right.
Yankees, and is like setting records, and the game moves from this like defensive game to like this like offensive game where all of a sudden home runs are becoming much more common.
And they're very common right now in particular.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a story behind that.
Ah, do you?
Well, it's interesting. Broadly, baseballs are produced by a few different people. But
Spalding.
no.
No.
The baseball used, Major League Baseballs are created by one company, Rawlings. And they are all handmade in Costa Rica. And they're made of like 3 components. You have an exterior shell of this cowhide, a winding of several layers of yarn, and a core of rubber-coated cork. And that part is known. Do you know what it's called?
I don't know, but I've had one, like held one before.
It's hilarious. It's called the pill.
The pill.
So the center of the baseball is called the pill. And the reason, so that's why I bring this up. I was doing some research on this yesterday. And so there's been a tremendous amount of home runs this year.
Uh-huh.
And people are like, are the balls juiced? Why are baseballs like
Are
being
the players juice?
Yeah, well,
Yes, is the
it was
answer.
a different era. It took a while, but so Major League Baseball is admitting that the issue is that the pill, which is the center of the ball, is being the baseballs are being fabricated too perfectly. So for the longest time, baseballs were produced, and they are produced by hand, but everything was done by hand. But now, not everything is totally done by hand. The stitching is done by hand by these people in Costa Rica, the Rawlings company or whatever.
Yeah.
But the pill, which is the rubber and the cork, the core, they're being fabricated too perfectly. And so for decades, the pill, the center part would be a little to the left or a little to the right. And so what that would happen is that you would have a little bit of wobble, or it wouldn't quite fly straight, or wouldn't quite. So when baseball players would hit the ball, it would go wonky, right? Well, I mean, think about it. Baseball's hard.
Yeah, it is.
You have a round stick, and you're trying to hit a round ball.
Coming at you at 95 miles an hour.
So the mathematics are, no wonder that if you hit 30% of the time, you're considered an all-star.
Yeah.
Like a mega all-star. Like you make millions of dollars. If you can do your job less than 70% of the time, you're going to get paid millions.
Yeah, I think the all-time career best batting average. It's
probably 400.
No, it's in the 300s. It's like 361 for career.
For career.
I
But
forget-
somebody's that had a
I
400
forget
season
how-
before.
Yeah, seasons you have them, but like all-time is like, it's like a 300 batting average.
So there you go. Center of the baseball is called the pill. So there you go.
Very cool.
It's interesting stuff, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Here we go. Ty Cobb. Batting average of 366.
I heard he was a jerk.
I don't know much about Ty Cobb. But yeah, he was a shortstop.
Detroit Tigers, right?
Was it Detroit Tigers?
I think so.
Yeah, Detroit. Yep.
Yeah.
The Georgia Peach. Anyway, yeah, baseball. That was a brief history. We have 7 minutes left.
So the record.
Yeah.
So we're looking at drag. So getting back to this explanation of why the baseballs are flying farther. So I was pulling this up. Drag is incredibly important in determining how likely a hitter is to knock one out of the park. As baseballs become more aerodynamic, they travel further, given a certain initial velocity. A deep fly ball that might have been caught at the warning track can instead go into the first rows of the stands. A 3% change in drag coefficient can work to add about 5 feet to a well-hit fly ball, which can in turn increase home runs league-wide by an astounding 10 to 15%.
Wow.
I know. So the record is on pace to just be shattered this year. So the league is currently on pace to hit 6,614 home runs. Right. And there's the record before that was 6,105 home runs. And that was in 2017. So it just, year after year, just like home runs are just going up and up and up.
Yeah.
But that's what people want to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, you
They
go to a
want- they want
baseball
something
game,
fun.
you know, like pitcher like a no hitter.
Mm-hmm.
That's a snore fest.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? I like baseball, so I'm into that. Like I
Yeah.
can get into that kind of thing. Like I can sit and watch 9 innings of baseball, no problem,
Mm-hmm.
and not get bored with it, even if it was just like a no hitter. Because
Yeah.
everything that's happening, there's so many different things, strategies, and stuff that's going on. But you know, people get bored.
They do.
Yeah, exactly.
I still love it because I played it. So
So this season, 16 players have already hit at least 20 home runs. Last June 21st, only 4 players had hit 20 home runs. And in 2017, the year the record was, the 6,105,
yeah.
just 7 players. Right. So, of course, the question now to mighty Major League Baseball is whether the league plans to correct the issue moving forward. Following the home run spike in 2017, the balls seem to fall back to normal. The home run total dropped back to 5,585 in 2018. Still high, but nowhere near the record. If something is going to change again, it would fall on MLB to make it happen. And Major League Baseball straight up owns Rawlings. They just own Rawlings.
Yeah. Of course.
I mean,
Yeah.
because they're making their, why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah.
Totally makes sense. But that's kind of the way it goes. And I think, to a certain extent, baseball and Major League Baseball, they want people coming to the games and, they'll create this kind of controversy to get people through the door. Don't think that they don't, I'm sure that they do. They're like, oh man, attendance is down. Wow, we gotta center the pill again.
Yeah.
Get some home runs flying out of the park. That's what we need.
Oh yeah. So I'm looking at just a cool timeline because I misspoke before with the Red Stockings comment about becoming the Red Sox.
Got it.
And yeah, that's so wrong because the Red Stockings actually became the Atlanta Braves.
Oh, really?
Even though they were originally from New England because they moved them.
Well, what happened to the Boston Braves?
So that was... hold on, I have the...
Because there's another team, Boston
No,
Braves.
the Boston Braves existed. So the Red Stockings went through a bunch of name changes, including the Boston Braves. Then they became the Milwaukee Braves, finally to be traded and moved to Atlanta and becoming the Atlanta Braves.
So the Boston Braves.
So the Boston Braves became the Atlanta Braves. And
weird.
The New York Yankees actually originated as the Baltimore Orioles.
Oh my goodness.
And were then moved to New York as the New York Highlanders and then became the New York Yankees. Where the Boston Americans became the Boston Red Sox.
Okay, there you go.
Which is just super interesting.
I know that
And
story.
your Minnesota Twins began as the Washington Senators.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They were the Washington Senators, and then they moved to Minnesota in I think like 1961.
Yeah, yep, right about there.
Right. Harmon Killebrew was already a senator.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Anyway, I thought that was super cool. But
So, hey,
oh my God, it's
time's
6:58.
almost up. But you folks out there watching on YouTube Live, here I'm holding up a poster. Check it
Nice.
out. Check it out. Get involved here at the Media Factory, Summer at the Media Factory. We are your community media center. This is a place to learn how to do media stuff. So I highly recommend you get involved. You want to get involved with this stuff. You listen to the radio and you think, man, I got something to talk about, something interesting. Well, come on in. Come check it out. Or maybe you want to make a documentary. I don't know. Anyways, Kyle, I got some music
Oh,
because we're pretty
I'm
much
waiting
out
for
of
it.
time here. No, it's there.
is it? I'm turning the wrong channel.
Yeah. Wow, there it is. Whew. This has been a fun episode. We're going to still be on the radio, though. We're just going to be done on TV. This program is made possible in part by Burlington Telecom's Lifeline program, promoting a digitally inclusive community by helping Burlington residents afford the internet tools they need to reach their full potential. Learn more at burlingtontelecom.com. You've reached another episode of STEAM Lab, or the end of another episode of STEAM Lab. Connect with us on Facebook, facebook.com/SteamLabVT, and Twitter at SteamLabVT. And I'm going to talk about hot dogs and drive-ins
Amazing.
next hour. It's going to be fun, and we will see you next time in the Challenge Zone.